It's finished here. Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 0. An absolutely shambolic display from Tottenham Hotspur. And, you know, the excuses are starting to run out. That was one of the worst displays, if not the worst display I've seen under Ange Postecoglou. In the first half, I thought they absolutely, you know, dismantled us in terms of physicality. Every time they went forward, they looked like they were going to score. But, you know, still, we were creating chances down the other end. And they went in 1-0, and I thought it was deservedly so. But it wasn't, you know, the worst performance in the world. But second half, make a few changes, things start going in our way. We think we're really starting to get in the game with Sonny. Maddison has a chance. And, you know, we're really fighting our way back into the game. But that last half an hour was one of the worst half an hours of football I've seen in a very, very long time. It was embarrassing. There was nothing short of embarrassment. Lack of trying, lack of leaders, lack of energy, lack of everything. All the fundamentals that you need to be a football player. I'm sorry, that was shambolic from every single player on that pitch. And I'm telling you, there's not one player on that pitch that comes out with any credit today. I'm sorry, that was an absolutely shambolic display. It was embarrassing. And we were lucky to get out of that with a 1-0 defeat. 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. You know, you're not walking away from that surprise with the amount of chances that we were conceding. We were just letting Bournemouth get into our goal time and time again. And it was just Bournemouth poor finishing that saved our guts not to get embarrassed in a scoreline. But by God, did we get embarrassed on that pitch. Like, I don't know. I don't know where to turn now, because you're looking at the up and down results. You're looking at where we sit in the league table right now. We're sitting... Where are we sitting? 10th in the league. We're sitting 10th in the league. It's nearly halfway through the season, guys. We're in December. We're 6 points off the top four now. We're 1 point from 13th. We've got Chelsea on the weekend, another aggressive team. Whenever we come up against an aggressive team, we seem to just lie flat on our faces. There just seemed to be a complete lack of belief on that pitch. There was no one that stood up. No one that stood up for that team. And the only word for it is embarrassing, guys. I'm saying the only word for it is embarrassing. I said in midweek, there's no chance we win this game. I tried to get positive. I tried to delude myself into thinking Spurs can go out there and win. But we got the result what we deserved. We actually didn't get the result we deserved, because actually that glossed over us. Like that 1-0 win, that 1-0 loss, you know, words can't describe how frustrated and how fuming I am right now. And I said in the midweek as well, Ange Postecoglou, I've backed him, but I've also said that now I'm questioning him more than ever. Well, now I'm even questioning him more than I've ever questioned him from the previous week. He's got a lot to answer for after that. He's got a lot to answer for, because he had a left winger on the bench. I thought the starting lineup was a bit peculiar, with Kulusevski on the left, with Brennan Johnson on the left and Kulusevski on the right. I said when the lineups got announced that I don't understand why that's happening, because Brennan or Decky, they never look comfortable on the left. Brennan Johnson was non-existent today. What did he do? He got his name called out on the team sheet. That's all he did today. Dejan Kulusevski, he was poor today. I'm going to give him a bit of a pass because he's brilliant all season, but he was shambolic. Maddison, he stepped up for about 10 minutes in the beginning of the first half. Nowhere to be seen after that. Nowhere to be seen. Dom Solanke, you know, got to put away your chances when they come to you. I've been sitting here too many times saying Dom Solanke, yeah, he works hard, the work rate's good, the hold-up play's good. But when he gets in his goal-scoring opportunities, he doesn't take his chances. You need to take your chances, and especially in a game like this. Man, this team is going to be the end of me, I swear. I don't know. I don't know where we turn. I really don't know where we turn, because that last half an hour was worrying, very, very worrying signs in terms of the direction of this club and which way this club is going. I'm telling you, that is worrying signs. And if this carries on, Ange Postecoglou ain't going to be in this job by Christmas. I've said it for the last few weeks. We beat Man City. It kind of put that to the back burner now, but now we've drawn to Fulham in a shambolic display where we should have lost, and we've lost to Bournemouth now where we should have got absolutely pummeled 4 or 5. I don't know how we turn this around. I really don't, with Chelsea coming up next. Like, I'm lost for words, man. I'm lost for words.
And she's got to take responsibility, 100%. I know we got centre-backs out. I know we've got injuries, all these different things. But I'm looking at the team we've got on the pitch. I'm looking at the quality we've got in midfield and some of the quality we do have out there. And to put in a performance like we did today, lack of, as you say, no aggression, just getting bullied. We're getting bullied by a 19-year-old centre-back. A 19-year-old centre-back. The marking from the corner that we conceded from was a disgrace. Completely left free. No one near him. He heads it. The easiest goal you're ever likely to see from a corner. No one's even thinking about marking him. I thought first half, Bournemouth were the better team, but I thought in terms of their attacking threat, didn't create too much. I thought we contained it fairly well, but we didn't do anything ourselves. We had one chance from Solanke, which was from actually that mistake from the 19-year-old from Hyson, which we didn't put him under enough pressure whatsoever throughout this game. That was the only moment we looked like we asked questions of them. Bournemouth always looked a lot sharper. They looked like they were very direct, got into their final third. They played like they usually do. I actually thought first half they weren't as good as I've seen them play. But then second half, I thought, again, we started off quite well, actually. We made the sub with Son, and we had 3 really good chances. Obviously, Son had the goal, which was offside, which Solanke picked the wrong option. Maddison had that chance, which he tries to bend it far corner and it goes wide. Porro has a volley, which Kepa makes a save. And you're thinking, okay, we're getting back into this game. And then Bournemouth make a sub. They bring on Utara. And I don't know, they must have made a few tactical tweaks or something, because that last half an hour from Spurs was some of the most embarrassing, unorganised, just pathetic, weak football that I've seen from us since Ange has taken over for a very long time. We look completely all at sea. Bournemouth looked like it was very, very easy for them, not just to get in out wide, but as soon as they crossed the ball in, there was players just standing there in the middle of the penalty area with no one around looking to mark him. No one around and thinking about maybe we should stop that. No one around thinking maybe we should mark our men. And they just missed chance after chance. If Bournemouth would have dropped points there, they would have been embarrassed that they missed the level of chance they did, because
if we would have got a goal there in the last few minutes, even though it was nowhere near likely, if we would have got, I'm telling you, that would have been the biggest robbery since the bloody Hatton Garden heist. That would have been the biggest robbery, because we deserved zilch out of that game.
That last half an hour, and the worrying thing is as well, the more Ange changed, I mean, Son obviously made a bit of an impact when he first came on, but he changed it. And I said at the time, he went 4-4-2. He put kind of Son in this 10 role with Solanke up front, Werner on the left, Johnson on the right with Decky and Maddison there as well. And I said, whenever we go 4-4-2, it never works. We always look too open. We always look very disorganised. And Bournemouth completely took advantage of it. Bournemouth completely ran ragged in that period. They were tougher than us. It was just weak and pathetic from Tottenham. Whenever we were playing the ball into feet, and we had Adams and Christie, and when he came on, Lewis Cook, just reading it every time and bullying our players off the ball every single time, and it just led to transition after transition after transition. And the reality is, the way we play, we have these. It's not just the inverted fullbacks. But when you look at where our centre backs have the ball, we have pretty much all our players like in the final third, way ahead of the play. So as soon as they play into feet to one of our midfielders and they get intercepted, bam, they're in on our back line every time. And I'm sorry, that's a tactical issue. It's not of the players. It's not that they're not trying and all these different things. And look, there are probably elements of them not being strong enough, all those different mentality. You can all say that, but that is tactical. The way we build up and the way they're intercepting it and transitioning every time, that is on Ange. That is transitions. That is that the opposition have picked up on and are exploiting, and that's a tactical flaw. That is not to do with the players. That is Ange Postecoglou weaknesses being completely exposed and exploited. And the last 2 games has been there for all to see. I have to say, Fulham should have scored more goals. Our best player on the day, hands down, was Fraser Forster on the last 2 games. Even him today, he played that ball to Decky and they intercepted it, very similar to what they've been doing in the centre of the park, and we got lucky with an offside. But time after time, we're being completely transitioned on in the last 2 games especially. I wouldn't say it's been as bad as this before that, but the last 2 games has probably been the worst I've seen of it. It happened against Palace as well, I would say, as well, in terms of the amount of times we just get completely transitioned on and we have no answer to it. and we don't see a way of turning it around. And this has happened now in recent weeks too many times for Ange to find too many excuses. It's not an injury problem, what I'm seeing. Yes, we are having to use some players too often, you could argue. Yes, that we are maybe have a lot of injuries in our squad. I'm not denying that. There are definitely problems there. But we've got players on the pitch that are capable of much more than what I'm seeing from how they're performing. We've got a lot of quality there, and we are very much being exposed. Today was very much, in my opinion, the way I saw it, was very much a tactical outdoing. Very much so.
I do
100%.
think that I agree with you. I do agree with you 100%. But I also think that, first of all, Ange has to take the main flack for today and the main culpability 100%. But you look at some of the players and the attitude that some of the players and the quality that some of the players were showing today, just being able to be brushed aside so willy-nilly, no aggression, none of them looked like they wanted it. It was just like embarrassing. Like how can these professional players getting paid that much put out dross like they did today? Like some of the passing, some 2-yard passes were absolutely a joke, man. Absolutely a joke.
There's a video here, Ange just confronting a fan, it looks like, at the end of the game. I'm just trying to see if I can hear what they're saying.
Big boos from the way end.
Obviously,
it's getting toxic. It's getting toxic, and I feel like it's getting to the end, man.
He's saying calm down. He's saying calm down. There's fans in the front row. I can see here Ange confronting them, and these scenes are not nice. But it's mad. 2 weeks ago, we were beating City 4-0, and you're thinking, how can it get so toxic so quickly? I think toxicity.
But it was getting toxic before that Man City game. That's the truth.
Or there was a international break before then.
Yeah, but we lost to Ipswich.
Yeah. But we beat Man City 4-0. And, it was a great performance. And that seemed to allay people's fears. And then these last two performances have been, quite frankly, some of the worst we've seen.
Look, you look at the performances, yeah? Our last 6 performances. Galatasaray away. Yeah, I know it was a much changed side, but there was some embarrassing moments in that game. Galatasaray absolutely tore us a new one. Ipswich at home, absolutely embarrassing to lose to Ipswich at home. Then we go and beat Man City. Roma at home, we were getting carved open in that game in certain aspects. Fulham at home, 1-1. Definitely should have lost that game. Fulham were much better than us. And then it's this, performance level at the moment, in these last 6 games, bar the Man City game, have been nowhere near good enough. And we've heard what Decky says about, how special Man City is and the team can, and he always raises his performance for that game. Well, it's clear to me that the team, when they face the best, when they want to face Man City, they go raise their game. And on top of that, you had Man City who were in a massive rut, losing 4 games in a row in the Premier League. I don't know how many games in a row it was in total, 3-0 up against Feyenoord and getting it 3 back in the last 50 minutes. Man City were in a massive rut that played a massive part in that game. There's no two ways about it. So Spurs are in a very, very sticky situation at the moment. What do we do? Because we're going into a very pivotal part of the season. If these results carry on, that's it. The league season's dead. Right, it's dead. Top four is going to be if it's not already, an absolute pipe dream.
Well, top 5 could be Champions League, so you could aim for 5th. But that's obviously not an improvement on last year. But you have to hope for 5th and see what we can do in the cups. But at the end of the day, I don't think changing the manager right now is going to improve things in the short term. You could obviously change the manager and then go for a different way of playing, and that's going to take time to adjust to and all these different things. But you could do that if you feel like that he can get more of the squad. Maybe it could give a quick short-term uplift before,
Are you losing belief in this project?
From what I'm seeing the last 2 games, it's hard to say that we're going in the right direction.
Though it's like pretty much 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, in all competitions. I mean, we're not playing well. 100%, we're not playing well. It's struggling to see positive. We can't take many positives from a lot of these games.
I'm not seeing forward steps from this football club. I'm not seeing forward steps from this team. Instead, I'm seeing regression. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, it's hard
and it's worrying. It's very, very worrying signs, and I'm quickly losing belief in this project. I really am. Game by game.
Well, at the moment, we're falling like quicksand. That's reality. The performances are dropping off like a cliff. I don't know whether it's Is he asking them to be too intense? Is it just something that's not sustainable right now, especially when we have an injury crisis? Is it that when we're trying to build up with these two centre-backs and we're playing it into midfield and teams are reading it, is that a tactical flaw that teams have just found out he's just going to be stubborn about and he's got no way of adjusting to? Earlier in the season, we were having problems and we were saying how he was fixing them and we were adjusting to different things. And over the last, as you say, 6 weeks or so, the performances have not been good whatsoever. Since that Villa game, and the Man City game has been very much the outlier. It's been very much a game where that's been the exception to the rule, because the performances have no doubt about it. They're not there at the moment. We're conceding way too many chances. We're not controlling games whatsoever. Right at the beginning of the season, we were losing games, but at least we were controlling the games. We're not controlling them anymore. We're completely giving up control to the opposition. That last half an hour, Bournemouth were popping it around. They were the ones in control. They were popping around easily. They were transitioning on us. They were finding all sorts of spaces. And that has consistently happened in the last few weeks now. That is something that hasn't been addressed and does not seem to be changing. And playing the style that we do, I accept there's risk versus reward, but at the moment, we're not getting any reward for it. All we're doing is completely risking everything. It's like we're putting on like a 10-fold accumulator every week. That's what it feels like. I'm putting like
10, 20.
And we're putting like 10 grand on it. And that's what it feels like.
And we ain't getting lucky as you get.
And we're not getting lucky. We're not. There's at the moment, maybe while we're going through this period of all these injuries and stuff, he's got to adjust to what this team is capable of, because clearly this intensity is struggling.
I'm sorry, no, these injuries are not an excuse for what we're showing on that pitch. Nowhere near an excuse. You look at the players.
I said that at the beginning.
Yeah, but you're mentioning the injuries, and while we have these injuries, we need to change. Look, we need to change the way we play with injuries or without injuries. The injuries are nowhere near an excuse. You look at the players on the pitch today. You look at some of the players that had a rest on the weekend as well, still putting in lethargic, embarrassing displays. I don't know, but to me, that last half an hour looked of a team that just has lost all belief. That's what it looked to me. And it looks as though the belief has been sapped out of these players week by week by week, culminating in this. So...
yeah, there was no kind of... You never looked like we were going to score in that last... Well, forget score. We just on the back foot. It was just Forster against their whole team, it seemed at times. They were just... If it wasn't for Bournemouth poor finishing, as you say, it would have been a lot worse than the scoreline was. It was the second game in a row where the scoreline has flattered Tottenham. And, I mean, it's hard to take when you've seen what this team is capable of when they are at their best. You've seen when they're in full flight, when they're at their most aggressive and their most intense. You can see what they're capable of. But at the end of the day, that's now, as the season's gone on, that is now becoming the exception to the rule. And that is the reality. And Ange has to address that. And he has to cop it. I know he does take responsibility. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but at the end of the day, if this doesn't turn around and if this continues for however long, then
how long do you give it? How long do we give it if these results still happen, are still carrying on over the next few games? How long are we going to give it? How long does the board give it?
It's a tough question,
because I think the board have got to be asking themselves serious questions. And you know what? The board need to take responsibility as well with the transfer window that we had in the summer. We're relying on people like Gray and Bergvall, who are 18-year-old kids. All we did was bring in kids in the summer instead of taking this squad onto the next level. Yeah, we brought in Solanke, great. But everyone's got to take responsibility in this situation. And I really don't know in which direction we go in. I really don't.
He said on what happened with the fan at the end, he said the fans are disappointed. They gave us some direct feedback, which we'll take on board. When asked what the fan said, he said it's not something that I can repeat in the press conference. Ange's, when I look at his body language, he seems a bit lost at the moment, to be honest.
When I was looking at him on the sidelines there, and he was just looking on, watching his team get absolutely pummeled, he just looked clueless, man. He looked clueless how to turn this around. And I do think he's clueless how to turn this around. I really do.
Ange has described the defending for the corner as madness for Hyson's goal.
Yeah, you described the defending from the corner as madness, but we've seen that defending time and time again under your tenureship. We have. How many times have we just conceded goals free at the back post from open play and from corners? How many times? Countless amount of times. That's how many. And it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment, and I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore, man. I really don't know what to say. Every single person involved, every single person from top to bottom involved today is an absolute embarrassment, and they all got to take the flak. The players, the manager, the ownership, everyone. And this is what it's culminated in. And I genuinely believe come Christmas, we won't have this manager anymore. I genuinely believe that. And you know what? I said that a few weeks ago. How long ago did I said that after the Ipswich game. That's when I last said it. And my opinion hasn't changed. So look, we'll see what happens. We're moving on to the fan show, where it's your chance to have your say. I want to thank you all for joining us today, all 2,763 of you in the live chat right now. But we'll be back very soon, guys. Like, subscribe.
Was this an all audition?
Well, you know what I said to you. What did I say to you? I said to you last week, if Ange's going to go, he's my number one option. He's my number one option. But look, let's not talk about managers until Ange's gone. But yeah, like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.